This is my WWE Payback 2014 pay-per-view review. The pay-per-view went there a little while ago as far as my thoughts on the show from WWE. I didn't think this was a great show from WWE, but it was still an overall good show, and definitely a show I would say is worth going out your way to see. Now, there's some stuff on the undercard that I would say was kind of hard to sit through and watch, and there was a number of things at the, beginning portion of the pay-per-view that you probably would say was, nothing better than Raw or SmackDown quality matches. But on this pay-per-view, you still saw a number of good things. And the good things were, or the great things were, the main event, the Shield versus Evolution, no holds barred elimination match. Another great six-man tag from Evolution, the Shield. I thought their match from Extreme Rules was just a little bit better, but this one was still a damn good match, and even though it had a somewhat of a slow start to it, it really picked up, and this one probably might have told a little better story than the Extreme Rules match, and, the ending was the ending that we wanted to see, which was the Shield, being the dominant force, and WWE still, making the Shield look strong, and that's exactly what they did here in the main event, with not any member of Shield getting eliminated, and just Triple H and Batista and Orton, doing a good job of putting them over, especially Triple H, and love seeing in the main event anytime Seth Rollins and Triple H are against each other. Not only did you have a great main event right there with Shield and Evolution, even though the feud has been booked bad and they haven't been doing a great job of booking, Bray Wyatt. The match with Bray Wyatt and John Cena, last man standing match, was a damn good last man standing match. Obviously, some people are going to be complaining about it because obviously a lot of people probably want it to be a little more brutal and maybe some, blood involved, but you're not going to get that in this era of WWE. Now, you did have Bray Wyatt have a pretty bad gash on his left arm, so you did get a little blood in that match, and Cena had a little bump on his elbow as well. So that was a damn good match, even though the feud hasn't been the greatest, and they've been doing not the greatest job of booking Bray Wyatt. It was still a damn good match, even though the wrong guy went over again. Bray Wyatt needs to pick up some type of win here, other than the thing that happened at Extreme Rules in the cage match where he just won it because of Cena's fears or something. There needs to be something to make Bray Wyatt look strong in this feud, and he just doesn't look strong in this feud, even though the last man standing match was really good. And then the opener of the pay-per-view, which was Sheamus and Cesaro for the United States title, was a damn good opener. Those things were the things everyone needs to see. Some of the undercard, like I said, wasn't the greatest, but let me get into my pay-per-view review. On the pre-show, you had a pre-show match with El Torrito versus Hornswoggle, minis match, hair versus mask. Now, last month at Extreme Rules, just like everyone else going into Extreme Rules, none of us wanted to see that match, but they made it work then. It was entertaining at Extreme Rules. They did entertaining spots. It was just an entertaining match. This time, it was not entertaining. It was not a good match, which you wouldn't expect, a good match for the most part here. You shouldn't be expecting it, but you should at least, like last month, since we saw that, they should have tried to at least give us an entertaining match. They just did not do that here. Obviously, everyone knew the outcome of this was going to be El Torrito. He won. Hornswoggle, gets his head shaved. Not a good pre-show match. Not as entertaining as last month. Last month, actually, even though I did not want to see it last month, it was at least entertaining. This month, it wasn't. If I'd have to give it a rate, a star, maybe a star and a half at best, 1.5 stars probably. And then the pay-per-view kicked off with Sheamus and Cesaro for the U.S. title. This was a damn good opener. Really good back-and-forth action. Enjoyed this a lot. Cesaro looked great here. Sheamus as well. And I am glad they are continuing Sheamus as U.S. champ. Even though I would have liked the idea of Cesaro winning the title here. Maybe they can kind of drag this out. Have them, take on each other. Maybe not in Money in the Bank, because you would think maybe these two probably would be in the Money in the Bank match, but maybe have a U.S. title feud with these two. I think they could deliver very good matches, just like they did on this opener. Sheamus retains the title. It's looking like Cesaro was about to hit the equalizer to Sheamus. Then Sheamus basically gets a fluke victory with a roll up. 3.5 stars, damn good opener. But then the next matchup was a match that more or less got added at the last minute, which was to be expected with this pay-per-view since they didn't have that many. I think they had maybe, what, 4 or 5 matches on the card going into there, so you knew you were getting some stuff added at the last minute, and this was Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus Ryback and Curtis Axel. It was a watchable tag match, but it was something you would see on Raw and SmackDown. We've seen on TV before. Nothing too special. Ryback and Curtis Axel do pick up the win after Ryback hits Shell Shock on Cody Rhodes. And then probably the only notable thing with this match was the post-match, which was Cody Rhodes gets on the mic, says, you know, Goldust, you deserve a better partner. You don't deserve me. And then he walks out. So maybe this is the little beginning of the breakup of Cody Rhodes and Goldust and building to a Goldust and Cody Rhodes feud, which I actually wouldn't mind seeing, even though it's probably something that should have been done a long time ago instead of taking this long for it to happen. As far as tag match, like I said, you know, it was a match a TV quality match, not a pay-per-view quality match, but it was still watchable, you know, probably about 2 stars. And then the next matchup was Rusev versus Big E. This was what it was, nothing special at all. It was a Rusev match. Now, with here, you did have Big E actually get some offense, and it did look like at parts where he could possibly, you know, end the streak of Rusev, which is the one thing that WWE does not want to do. Is if they want to continue making Rusev look like this, you know, unstoppable force that no one can tame and no one can take down, you don't necessarily you don't want to go with this, you know, shriek thing, because then when the shriek is over, you don't got anything for him to do. So hopefully they just, you know, have someone maybe upset him where it looks like, you know, he's still, you know, unstoppable, but at the same time someone can upset him. That's probably what they need to do. Big E lost this match after he was going for the splash onto Rusev. Rusev got up, hit him with a stiff super kick, and then Rusev locked in the camel clutch, the acolyte, and, you know, 2-star, 1 and 3/4 star match. Not. It was what it was. You know, they had Rusev, you know, get another win on pay-per-view here and continue his streak here. Not much of a match at all. I mean, really, the only good parts of Rusev's match, even though I like the Rusev character, I like him. He's still pretty green in the ring, and obviously the one thing I think most people will agree, the best thing about Rusev is Lana at ringside. And then the next matchup was another match that got added at the last minute. This, well, was looking like it was going to be happening. This was supposed to be Kofi Kingston and Bo Dallas, and Kane did us all a favor. We did not have to see a Bo Dallas match. Kane comes out there, destroys Kofi Kingston. The match never takes place, and then you have Bo Dallas get on the mic and said to Kofi Kingston that you should have believed. And Bo Dallas, if he lasts on the main roster, it's just going to be because of WWE force-feeding him to us, because I just can't see him ever getting over. And he's not even that good in the ring. He is terrible, and I'm glad he's off NXT. At least on NXT we won't have to be seeing him, even though I do know that he's going to be doing some type of mask gimmick there for 1 week. Then it's revealed it's him under the mask. So the people that just watch Raw and SmackDown, Bo Dallas is not good at all. You're not going to ever see anything good from him. If he ever becomes a star, I'll be shocked. But thankfully we didn't have to see that match, even though maybe Kofi could have pulled something out of him, but it's not something we necessarily needed to see. Then the next matchup was Bad News Barrett versus RVD. Bad News Barrett, he's he's hugely over with the crowd. Obviously, this is Chicago, so kind of when you're in this towns like Chicago and in the North as well, you kind of expect some of the heel type talents to, you know, kind of be over more than what they would be, say, you know, when they run the South. But even then, you know, Bad News Barrett is over, and you're having him take on someone like RVD, and this was for the IC title. Wasn't a great match. It was probably, you know, maybe a little better than a TV quality match, but nothing too special. Barrett did pick up the win by hitting the bull hammer to retain the IC title, which obviously is a smart move to do. About 2.5, 2 3/4 star match. Then up next was Daniel Bryan coming out here, and this was, what was Stephanie McMahon going to do to Daniel Bryan? What the whole thing was Daniel Bryan going to choose his title, or was he going to, you know, give up his title so his wife Brie Bella wouldn't get fired? they went the route here, which probably made it even worse, was they took the focus off the title here, and then the main focus obviously was Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella, and Stephanie was about to fire Brie Bella. Brie Bella said she quits, and then you have Stephanie leave the ring after Brie Bella bitch slaps her. She leaves the ring, runs up the ramp all pissed off. Then it ends with Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan in the ring doing the yes chant. So obviously WWE is going to be continuing to have the title on Daniel Bryan. With this pay-per-view and probably Money in the Bank, those are like pay-per-views that will be okay, you know, if he cannot defend the title, just as long as he's back in time, maybe for the July pay-per-view, or maybe they can hold it off till SummerSlam. They're obviously going to continue this whole thing of what Stephanie and what WWE is going to do against Daniel Bryan. That's obviously the way they're going to drag it out. And they're going to drag it out enough where it'd be okay for him not being stripped of the title, so they can continue having him be champion at least until SummerSlam, where I expect them to possibly do Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. And if they did that, I would think Brock Lesnar would become champ, but at the same time, you got to think, is Brock Lesnar going to be able to appear on Raw every single week? Because I know the way his bookings are, and is he going to make all the pay-per-views after that? Because you would think, you know, after Daniel Bryan, you know, for a month or two, can't make pay-per-views. The last thing you want to do is have a new champ not be able to make the pay-per-view. So that's going to be kind of the thing they're going to be stuck into, deciding what they do there. It was an okay segment. I mean, obviously, was one of the segments they had to do for the pay-per-view to at least have Daniel Bryan on here. Then the next matchup was Bray Wyatt versus John Cena in the last man standing match. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this feud has not been that good as far as booking sense, but this was a really entertaining match. This was a good last man standing match. A number of brutal stuff happening here. I like the thing they did with the Wyatts in here, with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper being out there. Obviously, at the beginning of the match, you had them basically, you know, John Cena in the ring, all three of them outside the ring, and basically cornering John Cena. And then the Usos come out there in John Cena's favor. And then you see, you know, the Usos and Wyatts go after each other within the match. That takes place a number of times. Looks like, you know, Bray Wyatt's going to be picking up the win. The Usos come out there for the save again to save John Cena. So obviously, I would think, unless, you know, because I don't think they're going to put John Cena or Bray Wyatt in the Money in the Bank match. So it looks like they'll probably be doing next month the Usos and John Cena teaming up to take on the Wyatts at Money in the Bank later this month, not next month, because they're actually doing a pay-per-view at the end of this month. So that's obviously where it's going to lead to. But number of brutal things in here. Like I said, Bray Wyatt, you know, gets a bad gash on his left arm during this match, where John Cena, obviously looks like the way it happened was John Cena threw the ring steps out the ring, and I guess it kind of nicked his elbow or something. That's obviously where that took place. And, you know, obviously a lot of brawling in the crowd, within the crowd around the ring. Did stuff up on the rampway, and the way the match ends is they're towards where the technical stuff is, towards the stage. John Cena gets on top of this one type of platform thing near that area, and then hits the attitude adjustment to Bray Wyatt through basically, you know, this board or whatever. Then, you know, he throws something on top of it, so Bray Wyatt cannot get up, even though he wasn't even trying to get up. And John Cena wins this last man standing match. Obviously, they don't want to have John Cena lose a last man standing match. It would be kind of like him losing an I Quit match. They don't want him not being able to continue. It goes against, I guess, this whole, you know, never give up thing, so it would kind of hurt there. But at the same time, you kind of need to do something to make Bray Wyatt look strong. I mean, come on, WWE. It's not going to hurt John Cena if he loses 1 month at a pay-per-view. And when I mean lose 1 month at a pay-per-view, I'm not referring, you know, to a kid coming out and basically, you know, Bray Wyatt playing mind games. I'm talking about not necessarily Cena losing clean to Bray Wyatt, because, you know, with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, it wouldn't make sense him losing clean, John Cena losing clean to him, but at least, you know, make him have some victory where he at least looks strong. You're just not doing that here. But it was a damn good last man standing match. Probably, you know, second best match on the show. About, you know, 3.5, maybe 3 3/4 star match. I really enjoyed it. I know probably even some people probably even enjoyed it a little more than me, but I thought it was damn good. It was damn good, even though obviously, as I keep saying, the feud wasn't built the booked the greatest, but we still at least got a damn good last man standing match and a good match with Bray Wyatt and John Cena on this pay-per-view. Then the next matchup was Alicia Fox versus Paige for the Divas title. Huge fan of Paige. I'm just wishing that WWE would let Paige be Paige. Let her go in there and perform, showcase how good she is. Just like what they should do with Emma. I mean, Emma, is getting stuck with this stupid shit with Santino, and she's a good women's wrestler. Paige is a good women's wrestler. I'm one of those people, I'm a huge fan of women's wrestling, but I do not understand why some people love this Alicia Fox gimmick, what some people are dubbing Stone Cold Alicia Fox. Are some of our expectations for women's wrestling that low that we're glad that type of angle is going on? Now, the one thing I will give the Alicia Fox gimmick credit for is at least, you got a woman with a gimmick, and she's not just eye candy. She actually has somewhat of a gimmick, even though it's, even though it's kind of just the bitchy woman gimmick, it's still at least somewhat of a gimmick to some degree, and it's getting somewhat focused on the women's division, but at the same time, you're not getting a great women's wrestling match. I mean, this past Thursday at the NXT special, we got a great match with Natalya and Charlotte, and on here, you just got your typical Divas match, nothing too special at all. Paige retains the title. Wasn't that good of a match? 1.5 stars, 1 3/4 stars. Wasn't good at all. And just what WWE needs to do is let some of these women, especially someone like Natalya, to go out there, perform like she can, have great women's matches. Because I think even now, I know WWE thinks that women cannot draw and people don't want to see lengthy women's matches. But I think if you actually had some of these women go out there and to perform their highest ability, and you had great women's matches, I think even casual fans could get behind it. But other than them being used as eye candy and then just having pretty shitty matches, no one's going to ever care about women's wrestling, especially mainstream women's wrestling, especially in WWE. But hopefully they do something, because I love Paige, and hopefully they bring up some of the women from NXT, or maybe a Paige and Natalya feud could happen. Something that can do something with the women's division in WWE. But let me get off that tangent and keep going into my review. Then the main event of the show was Evolution versus The Shield in the No Holds Barred Elimination 6-man tag. This was great. Had a slow start. Now, the one thing that I will maybe have a little issue with, but this is one thing that WWE tends to do a lot of the times, is when they do elimination matches, they either do it two ways. They either do the eliminations very quick, or they take forever to do the eliminations, then do the eliminations quick towards the end. And that's kind of the way they did this match, where it kind of has a slow beginning. They did a lot of good brawling. Love seeing Seth Rollins and Triple H against each other. Dean Ambrose did his stuff in here. Roman Reigns, obviously that's the guy that they're really building up from the Shield the most. Obviously leading up to probably, Triple H and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. At least that's the rumored idea what they're going to be doing. Some people are saying that maybe Batista is going to be ending his time with WWE pretty soon, where he's not going to be ending his time where he's going to not ever return, but maybe take some time off, especially with, the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy coming out. He's going to have to do a lot of promotional stuff for that. So you would think, especially with him being the first guy eliminating this match, that, maybe, Batista's going to be gone for a little bit. I kind of hope not, because I would love to see another match with Shield versus Evolution at Money in the Bank. But at the same time, you got to think they might want to put someone like Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and maybe even Roman Reigns, all three members, in the Money in the Bank match. But maybe we'll see Evolution versus the Shield again. We'll just have to wait and see. But a lot of great stuff here. Loved everything with this match. Wasn't as great as their Extreme Rules match, but that's not downplaying how good this match was. This still was a great match. I just preferred their Extreme Rules match just a little more. But the ending was really good. And you had, obviously, the first elimination, like I said, was Seth Rollins. He eliminated Batista. It's looking like Batista was about to eliminate him. Then Reigns comes in there, hits the spear onto Batista. Rollins gets the pin. And then the next elimination comes with Ambrose eliminating Orton, because then it looked like Orton was going to eliminate Seth Rollins after the Batista part. Ambrose ends up picking up the elimination against Orton. So then it's Triple H and all 3 members of the Shield. And like some people, I was worried that they would go the route of Triple H dominating the Shield, not necessarily having, him win the match, but, maybe eliminate 2 members and it ends up with maybe him and Roman Reigns eliminates him. Thankfully, they didn't go that route. They went the route of all 3 members of the Shield staying in there, looking strong, and they eliminate Triple H, and the Shield go out on this pay-per-view looking dominant like they should. Just a great match. Probably, 4 1/4, 4.5 stars. I mean, the Shield matches in WWE almost work no matter what. I mean, the Shield versus Evolution matches have been great, and the Shield versus Wyatt matches have been great this year. So you've been seeing great 6-man tag action this year within WWE, and this was just a great main event. Something I would recommend people to go out their way to see. The main event, the stuff I would recommend people to go out their way to see is the main event with Evolution versus the Shield. Obviously, check out the John Cena and Bray Wyatt match as well. Even though, like a lot of people, I didn't like the way it's been built up, at least it was a good last man standing match. And the opener of the pay-per-view with Cesaro versus Sheamus was good as well. So overall, a good show from WWE. I would definitely recommend it. Not great, but still a damn good show. Probably give it about 7.75 out of 10, maybe even an 8 out of 10, because even though the undercard was bad, you still had a overall, more positive stuff on this show than anything. So definitely recommend it. So go out your way to see the stuff I told you to check out, the main event, the last man standing match, and the opener of the pay-per-view. And that's it for my WWE Payback 2014 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.